listening to Rock and Roll Specialists with your hosts, Ben Eastman and Jeff Crenshaw. Let's rock. Hello, I am Ben Eastman.
And I am Jeff Crenshaw.
And we are the Rock and Roll Specialists.
Walk this way.
Dug this way.
Walk this way.
Dug this way. I think that's my best Steven Tyler impersonation.
It was very well done.
You know,
later day Steven Tyler.
Yeah, you know, all right. Hey, I'm prime Steven Tyler. That's funny. I literally was just online a few days ago. They had got a big performance tribute thing, honorary 50-year anniversary at the Grammys.
Aerosmith?
The Aerosmith, yeah, and they performed. But the funny thing is about about 6 months or so ago, their drummer, they're actually one of the only bands that are out there right now that have been around so long that are all the same.
Oh, wow.
Literally every one of their guys has been in that band since the day one. And
no missing pieces?
Yeah, which is unheard of. But
even
until now.
Stones. Oh,
so
no.
6 months ago, their drummer had a injury, or maybe he was battling cancer. I don't know. It was like a really bad sickness or something, to where obviously he couldn't play. And so when he was cleared to play, the band gave him oh, you need to try out to come back to the band. You need to prove to us that you can still perform. Which I can understand why that would hurt him, but I'm also well, I mean, at the end of the day, they're a business. They're going to go on tour. They want to make sure that they can perform, whatever. But anyways, apparently he tried to get back into the studio to play with them.
And they didn't let him in.
And they didn't let him in, and so they hired
Ringo. Did they get Ringo's star?
No, but he was actually really nice about it. The guy was well, I guess that's just There's a whole video of him getting blocked. He walked up to the thing and they filmed it.
Oh my God!
What?
Sorry, I'm cutting you off your story.
Yeah, go ahead.
It's a detour.
What?
We just watched yesterday the first 2 episodes of Curb Your Enthusiasm.
Oh, hell yeah!
And there's a part where one of the episodes, Larry's undergoing testing for cancer, and all of the friends there are look, I can't be the cancer friend, so if you get cancer, I'm not going to talk to you anymore. And they all make a pact. If one of them gets cancer, the others will just ditch them. And that's what happened with Aerosmith.
Literally, that's the worst part, is I actually don't know what his sickness was, so I feel bad. If it was broken leg versus cancer, I don't know. It was something extensive, obviously.
Maybe he choked on a drumstick.
I have a feeling they would probably be more forgiving if it was cancer, other than I don't know, a broken leg that you need to use to play a drum with or something, But that's funny that you brought that up, because the best part of that episode is, spoiler, later on in that episode, when he gets mad because he doesn't have cancer, and it's been 3 days, and none of his friends have contacted him. He's like, "What kind of friends are you?
None of you asked me how the test went." That's
the genius of Larry David. I love that whole
I think that's kind of relatable. I think people would be hurt.
Oh, yeah, 100%. It's kind of one of those things oh, no, you don't have to give me a present. Oh, they didn't give me a present. Kind of a thing.
Ben, you don't have to come to my party. It's okay if you go see My Morning Jacket instead.
Hey, I got punished that episode. For making that decision. You know why? I got pulled over by Pegasus Dalton.
Wait, what?
Yeah.
Wait, what?
Well, so my friend Tony and I were on our way to see My Morning Jacket.
On my 21st birthday.
On his 21st birthday. I thought Jim James or Jeff Crenshaw. Well, I'm going to go with a J Jim instead of a G Jeff. But on our way, we were going, and I got on 217, and when you get off the off-ramp the off ramp on 217, you only have but probably 100 yards to get over before you have to go the off ramp, and I couldn't get over on a dotted line, so I got over on a solid line, and I got pulled over by a bike cop that looked like Chuck Norris plus 100 pounds, huge orange cookie duster, and like literally predictably like the tightest suit possible with the round helmet.
I'm picturing
and
like
sunglasses.
911 meets Magnum Force.
100%. Reno 911 meets Magnum Force. Yes,
That's fucking.
and he walks up to the car and pretty much, you know why I'm pulling you over? And I was like, solid line. He's like, yeah, I'm gonna write you a citation. So he wrote me a citation for like, I don't know, $173 or whatever. But on the citation, it said the reason. That's when you get a ticket for something. It's actually interesting to read the actual ticket. And you're like, what the fuck? I didn't say that. But
I never thought that I would be.
at the bottom, where do you wish? No, at the bottom of the ticket, it said P. Dalton. Like, so his name was P. First name started with P. Last name Dalton.
And you just made up Pegasus.
Well, like Tony and I were like so pissed off because we're like on our way to this concert. We're now late. Like, we're fucking Pegasus Dalton. So we sometimes we like say that name to each other and immediately you know what we're talking about.
And meanwhile, I was at John's Incredible Pizza. Mommy, has Ben arrived yet?
John's Incredible Pizza. That reminds me.
No, Jeffrey, he's not here. But Mommy, he said he wouldn't. I said, hey, are you coming with my birthday? So, sorry, buddy. I have plans with Tony to go see My Morning Jacket. But thanks for the invite.
Hey, I gave you my ticket to Electric Light Orchestra.
Only because your back fucked up.
Because my back couldn't handle it. Hey, you're welcome. You're welcome.
I remember, like, I forget what I said, but it was one of those, like, where you're like, fuck you. I was like, wow, Chris, wasn't that the best concert you've ever seen in your life? He's like, yeah.
Wow, my life.
But on the flip side, Chris and I did have to walk 6 miles from the bed bug inn to
oh my god,
to the venue.
I forgot you guys did that, but
I actually really liked that, and it wasn't too hot. It was kind of towards the evening. It wasn't like this current fucking rainy season we're in, which we'll get to that later. But I think it's worse than it usually is. Like rain wise, I don't think I've ever seen rain this many days in a row. But we were just. It was a good time, actually. Like, once we got out of the sketchy ghetto part of town, and, like, we finally got into the suburbs, and then, like, the actual Tacoma part of Tacoma. The first leg of our journey was fucking sketchy as hell. Afraid I'd step on a needle or something.
Yeah. I keep on forgetting this thing where, like, you should actually pay more for a better hotel in a better part of town. I keep on forgetting that. Because I'm like a stingy guy on trips. I'm like, oh, $80 for a hotel? Sounds great. It has 3 stars? Perfect.
Well, even when you spend a little less money, shit adds up.
Oh, yeah. But you show up to the place and there's like, they're like, literally the place above you and the place to the right of you are actual people's like houses.
Yeah.
Like they've turned them into apartments. It's like, and then they're all hanging out outside, like barbecuing as you're rolling up to, and then like your window. Oh god, that
it's like the Washington Project,
yeah,
as opposed to Florida Project.
Yeah, it was pretty bad. And then of course, yeah, bed bugs, which seem to somehow follow me everywhere I go, and yet I do not have bed bugs.
It was weird because we went to the concert, had a rocking good time at one of the best shows I've ever seen in my life.
Well, you are a rock and roll specialist.
I'm a rockin' man.
I'm the king of Japan.
And after the show, we went out and grabbed some dicks, and then went to the Dicks as in hamburgers. And there's a hamburger restaurant called Dick's.
Hey, Commit to your joke, sir. Commit to it.
No, I meant me.
Yeah, I know. I was going to reference, don't do no, I meant me.
But I figured for the sake of people not flooding Alicia Vuz's message box with, did you know that your boyfriend likes to... Anyway.
Fiance.
Oh, that's right. Fiance.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I should have insured that trip between you and Chris to Tacoma Dome walking, because that would be my wedding officiant and my best man. Precious cargo, if you will.
If we had been hit by a car, you would have been so devastated, and there would be 2 candles at your wedding.
Yeah, I'd probably have that vigilante show up.
What was I talking about?
I don't remember.
Oh yeah. Oh no. We went to the Dick's Burger place.
Yes.
And we went back to the motel room. I remember Ben and Chris spent fucking forever trying to figure out how to hook up the PlayStation or the Xbox to the TV. And I was just laying there half exhausted, and they're like, "No, the wires go here." No, I think that's the wrong wire, cousin, I know how to hook up a TV. Just let me do it. I don't believe you, cousin. Finally, they got the fucking thing hooked up after what seemed like forever. And then we played this game. It's like the cars were playing soccer.
Rocket League.
That's it. Fucking great game, by the way. I don't. Usually I'm kind of bored by sports games because I can kind of watch the same thing on TV and not have to hit buttons. But Rocket League is...
Yeah, Rocket League has no business being as fun as it actually is. I remember my friend Zach had, several years ago.
Harilla.
Yeah, Zach Harilla. He's like, you got to check out this game called Rocket League. And I'm like, Rocket League?
It's fucking fun.
And he was like, yeah, there's these big cars, and you hit this big soccer ball into a goal. I'm like, wow, are you a fucking child? And 10 minutes in, I'm like, holy shit.
Whee!
And it's a great game. So much fun. And they're always changing things about it, too, which make it...
And you can get mods where you can, be the fucking...
Ghostbuster Mobile.
X01 or the DeLorean.
Yeah.
Or...
Batmobile.
Anyway, we spent 5 hours sitting on our beds playing this game, and just hours, and then we ended up getting tired, and we went to bed, and suddenly I'm in a deep sleep, and I'm suddenly getting jostled, and I'm hearing a voice, Jeff, I got bites on me. And what are you talking about? I got bites on me. There's bites.
I assure you it wasn't as funny as he plays on.
And I get out of bed. You got to check under the covers, buddy. I think we might have an infestation on our hands.
I was not Mark Ruffalo in Spotlight. They were kids, man.
We did nothing. But anyway, I get up and Ben's bouncing from one foot to the other, and he's like, "Oh, I can't believe my luck! No matter where I go, these bags."
Listen, if you don't shut the fuck up, I want to make you lick my asshole, you fucker.
Is that not what happened?
Anyways, here we are. Our eyes bloody, dripping, and swollen. DOG. If you don't know the legend of DOG, he was this dog that got brutally beaten and scarred by a police officer, which obviously is horrible. But the owner of did the dog die?
I think the dog has since passed away.
Yeah, the dog's
not
owner
from the beating, but he had doggy cancer or something.
The dog's owner was Marlin Starr, legendary, should have been viral YouTube clip, because he obviously you'd be sad if your animal was wrongfully beaten by a police officer. How horrible would that be? Like, but it's like he took that and thought, this is my moment. I'm going to give 800% in this interview. My dog was bloody, swollen and beaten.
No,
his eye dripping with blood.
It was,
he literally said it just like that.
No. I found DOJ. His eyes were bloody, swollen, and dripping. It was like if you found Nick Offerman and crossbred him with Orson Welles.
Yeah.
And you would get Marlin Starr.
Yeah.
And it was
I'm like, why did he like actively try to like badassly narrate his dog's demise? Like, I'm just like thinking of like, that's I think why we like found that so intriguing. I think to the point where we actually like set our DVR. Like, I think one of us, I think it was my parents or something, or maybe it was my grandparents, we set the DVR to record the next time the news was going to play in hopes that we could then videotape with our phones, like, his interview so we can reference it later. I still have it on my phone. It's actually the first video that's on my phone.
Oh, it is?
The first video that I ever took. It's actually on there. It's from several iPhones ago, but it's still on my...
But you did, like, the data transfer?
Yeah.
Oh, my God. I remember that was like over 5 years ago.
Oh yeah, for sure 5 years ago.
Over because I remember we went out to Ben's Redmond to film Ben's famous award-winning short thriller Mystery Spot, and in between the
brought to you by not bringing enough water on the first day in the cold or the warm desert.
Well, that's not a good enough point, Benjamin.
Okay, sorry.
between like when we weren't filming, we were all hanging out at this house out in Redmond, sitting on the deck, just talking and shit. And
I missed that.
I persuaded Ben to bring out his phone and like, hey Ben, we show them the DOG video. And I don't think any of them saw the humor in it like we did.
Yeah.
Ben and I were crying, laughing.
Shit. Oh, shit. I forgot that happened. And now I like immediately like reminded me. I remember everyone was like,
okay, why is this funny?
Yeah, like, yeah, well.
I told Alan, hey, I think we should make a film based on this and you should play Marlin Starr.
Oh,
but oh God. So, but Mystery Spot. We've talked about this before, but the water thing. I remember that all of us were dying by the end of the first shoot. We didn't anticipate how much water we would need. Ben got this.
I got an entire case.
Yeah, he got like one of those Costco cases, probably.
I figured 3 or 4 for each of us. Like I figured,
It turns out the human body in 90+ degree weather needs a lot more water than that.
Well, yeah, I think we underestimated it. I remember.
I don't think we thought it was going to like be that hot the entire time.
Well, and I don't remember it being 90. I think it was like 80, but it felt like. It was.
I don't know. I thought it wasn't. But
what's the difference if it feels like 90 degrees?
Yeah,
but
you're like. I remember after that shoot, after the first day we filmed.
Yeah.
Like I think Alan and the other actors were in one car. You, Chancey, and I were in your car. I think with Tyler Bertram, and we drove off towards Walmart to like pick up some shit.
Yeah. More water.
More water. I remember. I remember seeing Alan from across the store with like a couple of cases of water slung on his back, like he was Forrest Gump carrying Bubba through the terrain, like one on each shoulder, but it looked like a body slung over because his head blocked the gap. But man. On the way from the China Hat Road where we were filming to the store, I like blacked out and woke up 5 different times.
Wow.
It's like, And that is the story of how Ben Eastman nearly killed his cast and crew.
Well, crazy thing about that was, like, I'm still impressed that we got that shot in 2 days. Especially under the circumstances in which
it doesn't look like a 2-day shoot.
It doesn't, no, we didn't, and I don't think nothing feels rushed. Like, I got the takes that I wanted for everything, but I just remember that first day just kicked our ass, and we really didn't shoot much. That's the crazy part. We shot kind of the opening sequence. We actually shot that film in sequence. Which is interesting. It doesn't always happen that way.
It usually doesn't happen that way. It just doesn't usually logistically work out.
But I think it worked to our advantage, especially the second day, because that thunderstorm kept creeping up, and the thunder's in the audio. You hear it and you see it in the background of that shot. That's one thing I always forget about when I watch that movie, and how great that whole kind of storm comes in as soon as they actually go to the mystery spot. No spoilers there.
But yeah, there was a storm that rolled in, and it's kind of present in the movie. It's unplanned things seem to really work out well for you. We were another just a whole unrelated thing. We were hanging out at his old house one time. He used to live with his friend Dylan in this 2-story ranch house, and we were just watching a movie or something, and suddenly this lightning storm rolled in. And I don't know if I suggested it, but somehow we got the idea, go get the camera. And he ran up, got the camera, and we waited with the thing rolling, aimed at some area where we thought the next bolts would be, and then we managed getting 3 or 4 different shots of lightning.
Yeah, and there's some of my favorite shots I've ever taken ever.
And they're in a movie too.
They're in the opening and part of the middle and the end of the film, The Card, that I made.
And that was just unexpected.
I remember thinking going into production of that, I had thought about actually getting stock footage just of lightning flashes and stuff, and then I thought, maybe there's a way I could do this to just use sound and power of suggestion to create the feel of it. And then that storm happened probably about a week or 2 weeks ahead of when we were gonna shoot, presumably at that time, for the film at that place, which ended up being different, but
it's God to smile. God to film smiles on you.
That's one of my best happy accidents ever. Because those shots are really cool, and I mean, it wasn't just a thunderstorm. It was showing off for us. It was close, and the way that it looked was.
There was all the bolts seemed like they were pretty goddamn close to where the house was too.
Oh, for sure.
And it's you need more verisimilitude for your movie. Here you go, Benicio.
Yeah.
Film gods, can you help me finish my film, Jeff Arenas?
I know.
Fuck you, Jeff.
I know just the shot you need. Speaking of, I actually remember. So you're the final voiceover in the film.
Oh yes.
And we had actually talked about me and you. I wrote it. You're my producer. We're a creative partner. We had actually talked about doing narration in the beginning and the end to kind of tie it together, but it ended up working out that in the cut, we just had it in the end. And you are the voice in it, which is great. I love it.
But although if we could go back in time and meet Monique Dupree in the past and have my God.
Yes. Yes.
I don't know her, but Ben's been talking to this chick with an amazing golden voice for his Groove Cuts radio gig.
Yeah, so I do this radio show called Groove Cuts Radio, where I compile just music that I like for an hour-long show, talk about stuff. And someone that I'm a fan of, this is how I know her. I'm a fan of Trauma films. Lloyd Kaufman films.
She's in Trauma movies?
Return to Nukem High, Shakespeare's Shitstorm. There's a few different ones.
Wait, go back.
A Shakespeare Shitstorm?
I would explain this one. please.
It's forthcoming, actually.
Oh,
but
I'm just trying to imagine.
So, yeah, you can only imagine. But anyway, so she's acted in, and there's a few others she's acted in too. But that's actually how I first I had seen her before, but that's how I kind of was like, hey, who's this? And she was in that, and she also did several. She's a wrestler, so she works as like a valet in wrestling, which is like an accompaniment. So she does wrestle sometimes, but mostly she's like the person that walks down with the person.
Is she in the WWE?
No, not in WWE, but she's worked in Impact and she's in House of Hardcore. So the big kind of local.
Lower...
It's definitely not WWE or AEW or something like that, but it's
a local.
Yeah, like regional. That's how that's how wrestling was done way back in the day. It was like a territorial, and wrestling is a huge East Coast thing. Now it's just kind of gaining steam on the West Coast, but East Coast wrestling is like a way of fucking life over there. Okay. So there's a lot of different territory in the Southwest Coast or Southeast Coast and Northeast Coast, kind of that whole region there.
I definitely know it was big in like the South.
Yeah,
Memphis wrestling.
Oh yeah,
Jerry Lawler,
yes. But God, what are we talking about?
Monique Dupree.
Oh yeah. So, but she's helped me out with doing some voiceover work for my radio show, along with guest curating on an episode. And
she has the voice of an angel.
Yeah,
she's like reminds me of Pam Grier. Like, we've got our own Jackie Brown.
Yeah. Well, and the best thing about her too is that like she's like 300%, like just gets it right every time. Like,
oh yeah,
that's the best part. But
she goes in on every single like suggestion you send her, and just gives it her best. She's like the John Travolta of voiceovers. Even if we like send her a really lame one, she's like, oh, she's all in completely. You know.
Yeah. So anyway, so like he's saying like that would have been great as a voiceover, and it would have. But I remember that I had extensively gone through like actually thinking about getting voiceover work and like vetting different people and whatnot for that intro. And I even attempted, like my dream one was locally here in Oregon. There's a show called Grant's Getaways.
I remember this.
And Grant McComey is the host of Grant's Getaways. Like, it was one of my favorite shows also, like that Oregon Field Guide, which is on OPB. And my mentor in college was Steve Amon, the producer of that show. And they're kind of best friends. So I kind of knew through him who Grant was and everything. And Grant McComey has like the greatest voice in regional like news or journalism.
He kind of sounds to me like Rush Limbaugh, but not a dick.
And and the other thing, it also sounds like I just would love to see him in a sound booth. He's like, I'm Grant McComey. This is Grant's Getaways. I'm here in Southern Oregon. Like I can't even.
You're starting to sound a little like Venom.
Yeah. Oh God.
If you hurt her again, I will eat your face.
Yeah. I actually watched probably a good 30 minutes of that the other day.
Yeah, I was here.
Yeah. Oh, horrible.
I asked you to turn off, and let's wait and see. Like, fuck you.
Well, I heard the director of that movie. I forget who it is, but he's actually made a few good films, from what I remember. Rupert something, maybe, I don't know. But he said that his number one influence for that film was John Carpenter, and so I was kind of curious. I was like, maybe I should give the film a chance, even though I saw the trailers and the reviews, and I was like, that I don't think I need to see that. But I watched it and I was like, I don't see that influence whatsoever.
Tommy Wiseau's main influence for The Room is James Dean.
Yeah, well,
Tennessee
Williams.
Tennessee Williams. Although, The Room is definitely a step up from at least Rebel Without a Cause.
In your opinion.
Well, yeah. But my opinion...
You're tearing me apart, Jeffrey!
There's a... You're tearing me apart. And then there's, you are tearing me apart, Lisa.
I've actually only seen Rebel Without a Cause once, but I remember liking it way more than you did.
We watched it together in high school.
Yeah, that's where we became friends.
Yep. Yeah.
Was it that class?
It was that class and the other one, because we were both in both of those classes. There was the journalism broadcast class, and
then the film studies class. Yeah, that was how we became friends in Mr. Allen's room.
Yes, there was one of my favorite memories ever, at least from high school, was there was a recut trailer contest, and
where we had to take clips from movies that we had watched,
Citizen Kane
specifically, and make a trailer.
Yeah,
for the movie.
And it was basically the point of the contest was to remix it so it gave the movie a new context with the clips you had. And so like I made this like zombie movie, Ben made this like slasher horror, and there was someone else who but I remember
mine just had a lot of unnecessary sound effects.
And mine had like this public domain like heavy metal.
I just remember the music of him like no, it was like I remember it was so badass.
But yeah. the thing I remember is we screened the trailers, and then we put after the trailers were screened, the classroom was given a chance to vote on their favorite trailer.
Yeah,
and it was like Ben, Jeff, Yulia, Ben, Jeff, Yulia, Ben, Jeff, Yulia, Yulia, Jeff, Ben, Ben, and then like at one point it's like Ben, Jeff, John. Again, you could tell that's the guy that voted for himself, and then like it was Ben, Yulia, Jeff, and I got like apparently I got a few more votes than Ben did because I got first place, Ben got second place, and Mr. Allen, all right, Jeff, you get first place, which is this candy bar, and then thanks and applause and stuff, and then all right, Ben, you get second place, which is this bag of Skittles that's been in my pocket since this morning. Yeah, I remember laughing so hard.
The greatest gift I've ever been given. Oh my God! Yeah, you rightfully won that contest. I remember like my edit was just like I'm just gonna make people laugh by doing stupid shit. But great study.
I mean, hands on, and the point of it was to learn how to edit using the tools of Adobe Premiere.
And I'm not having to worry about like to make a story because I guess you kind of have to do, but like it was already there. You don't have to worry about that part of it. It's simply just how about you take the pieces of the puzzle and try to fit it together. And
it's learning how to use the tools too.
Yeah,
and the mental tools and like the physical tools of the software.
Yeah, that was one of the first like editing things I had really ever done.
Yeah.
I think at that time.
There was also in the other class we made the music videos.
Oh yes,
and I was so mad because Zach Evers took the leadership role of that, and like he refused to let me edit or anything. Like, God damn it, Evers!
What an asshole move! I'm thinking
he has no faith. He had no faith in me.
Yeah, clearly.
To live a life as me, you have to live a life underestimated.
Yes. You know what? That means you're always playing with a chip on your shoulder. Yes. And hell hath no fury like a man who plays with a chip on his shoulder. It's always been something that, obviously I'm a big sports fan, but I like people when they play like they have something to prove and nothing to lose, kind of a thing.
Speaking of sports, this might be more your lane, but there was a tragedy the other day that fucking came out of nowhere.
Yeah.
I'll let you talk about that for a little bit while I go take a piss.
Yeah. Well, a few days ago, it was breaking news that Kobe Bryant had passed away. He had The fan.
Oh.
It's like... Sorry.
The fan, it could have been like an illustrative tool, because it kind of sounds like a helicopter.
Just...
Should we take a break?
No. I'll talk about this, and then we can... Then that's a good episode. Like,
okay.
But I'll kind of wrap it up. It's a good way to kind of tribute to end cap it, too. Yeah. So a few days ago, there was breaking news on my television that Kobe Bryant had passed away and died in a helicopter crash. And growing up, my least favorite team in basketball was the Lakers, and the player I hated the most was Kobe Bryant. And I say that in a sports realm, obviously, but it was because he was so good. Like, there wasn't any other person in the world you want to have a basketball in their hands when the game's on the line, you know. And and I remember us being in the finals, like the Blazers, or not the finals, but the conference finals, which means if we win that game, we head to the championship series. And how many times in the late 90s, early 2000s we got like just crossed out by the Lakers. But so Michael Jordan is considered the best basketball player of all time, right? Mm-hmm. And I think a lot of people nowadays say LeBron's the best basketball player, and there's that whole kind of, is LeBron or, where I love Michael Jordan. Who doesn't like Michael Jordan? Great, right? Mm-hmm. But Michael Jordan's heyday was when I was really young. Mm-hmm. I grew up watching Kobe Bryant. I remember when Kobe Bryant was drafted. Like, I remember when he started as a Laker, and like I lived through his entire career, and wow, it was mind-blowing to see him all of a sudden gone in a flash. And I think anytime death is just a thing where it's like no one ever hardly expects it, and it most likely comes out of nowhere. But even if it doesn't come out of nowhere, it doesn't change the fact that it hurts. And and I think a lot of people take for granted certain things in their life, and life is one of them, especially when it comes to people or artists that you enjoy. So like me, like some deaths that really shook me in the last few years were Prince, David Bowie, and Tom Petty, three of my all-time favorite artists. And I just automatically think of like, I won't ever get to see them perform again, and I won't ever get to hear them create again. And maybe that's a selfish thing to think about, but they're so talented that you want to see that. And
we get personal connections with them.
And and it
Gene
makes
Wilder for me too.
It makes you cherish what they did give you all the more, And I think that's what made me realize with Kobe Bryant, and especially his daughter, who died with him, and what.
That was the worst fucking part of that story.
And what they could have given the world together. So, and the other people that were on that helicopter as well. It's sad.
It's one of those really surprising, horrific deaths. It's like the Buddy Holly crash.
Yeah. Or Stevie Ray Vaughan.
Yeah, you just didn't expect it. Jim Croce.
Yeah, how many tragic people have died? Is it Patsy Cline?
Patsy Cline, Lefty Frizzell, and Hackshaw Hawkins, I believe, were the artists that died.
Lefty Frizzell died that way too?
I believe in that same crash, I think.
But it's, I want to put it more in perspective, is that like this person that I seemingly did not like.
You didn't like him because he beat your team, but you respected him.
But respect, yeah, exactly. Yeah. That's what I realized when he passed on, is how much respect to have for him. And what kid in the early 2000s didn't like... I've seen memes about it, but it's so true, though, because everyone did it. What kid didn't roll up, like, a paper bag or, like, their garbage and throw it into a can and yell Kobe when they did it? Like, that's just what you did when you were a kid.
I didn't, but I didn't follow sports.
Yeah, but that's just how... That shows you the impact.
Oh, yeah.
And I think that's why I think I've seen more tributes and love thrown his way than I've seen any other artist that I've lived and seen their passing or their death. I think because this is like the first person that I can really remember that was my generation's like big name that had passed on. When I really think about it, not that renders any death. Sorry, I didn't mean to laugh, but you know what I'm saying? Like, not doubt. But anyways, that's the way that I just want to give tribute to those people that died in that helicopter crash, and hopefully your families can cope and move on and tribute in your name.
And the worst thing is, it seems like something that was so preventable.
Yeah.
Like, it shouldn't have happened. That they gave them clearance to fly when they should not have been given.
And they missed
clearance.
Apparently, they missed like the cliff by like 20 feet. Like they were like 20 feet from not having their lives taken for them. Essentially,
20 feet.
That's what. Essentially, yeah.
When you think about how fast those fucking helicopters go, that is so cruel.
And I'm pretty sure it was Calabasas that he died in.
Yeah.
And I. God, I don't know why I keep on laughing. Just because it's hard.
You don't have to explain it, just continue.
But I've been to Calabasas a few times. Every time I go to LA, I stay in Calabasas. Because it's just outside the city. You can find affordable but decent places. But you don't have to, like, find bad parking in the city, if you know what I'm saying.
And
or feel that you can't move around. Sometimes you can feel that way.
It's like LA itself is congested.
Yeah, but Calabasas is kind of just like a suburb, but hills, yes. Like, that's what that place is known for. Like, there's this few areas that we stay at, and that's the view, is their hilly kind of valley area. And one could totally, I mean, like, when I started realizing or seeing things come out about it, about fog and that, I'm like, that's like a perfect storm of convergence of
just a perfect confluence of events that end up in a disaster like this.
Yeah. Well,
I think. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead.
I think probably the crash site will become what's the word? A
memorial.
A memorial. Kind of like James Dean's crash site, or the Buddy Holly, Richie Valens, J.P. Richardson crash site is as well. I think that could probably end up happening, like a monument being put there. And it's once the shock wears off, who knows what will happen.
Yeah, just we give love to the families and friends close to those people that have to have this horrible thing happen in their lives, and find somehow a way to move on. But of course, there is always a way to move on, and you just gotta keep on moving on. But thank you for listening to this episode of Rock and Roll Specialist. I am Ben Eastman.
I am Jeff Crenshaw.
Hey, you guys hang in there. We'll see you soon.